University of Georgia, the Herschel Walker era is permanently remembered. And while no one man will ever replace Herschel at Georgia, these four running backs are primed to lead the Dogs to their best record since the Walker era. As a freshman, Rodney Hampton broke Walker's single-game total offense record and rushed for nearly 1,000 yards as a backup. Juniors Tim Worley and Keith Henderson return after winning a battle with the books. Their presence, coupled with blocking back Alfonso Ellis, make the Dogs' running game strictly grade A. Tennessee's Johnny Majors has his own offensive arsenal. The Volunteers feature number 34, Reggie Cobb, who tied Herschel's single-season record of 20 touchdowns. Senior quarterback Jeff Francis is poised to become the most prolific quarterback in Tennessee history. Over 160 young men will suit up for today's SEC opener. The coaches have made their game plans. The players have their final moment of solitude. It's time to play. It's time to win. To Sanford Stadium, one of the shrines of college football. A sellout crowd of more than 82,000 for a giant of a season opener between Tennessee and Georgia. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, and it's great to have you with us on ESPN for a critical SEC game. Critical even though it's the season opener. It's my pleasure to be working with Kevin Kiley. Kevin, we're ready to go, but Georgia still has a question mark at quarterback.
They do. They've got two quarterbacks, maybe fine quarterbacks, but Wayne Johnson last year, this will be his first year as a starter, only completed 37% of his passes. We'll see him. Backing him up, Greg Talley. He's an All-American, but a high school All-American. Tremendous talent, but as yet an unproven, inexperienced quarterback. Backing them up, Rodney Hampton. If they turn around and hand the ball, Rodney runs, anything could happen.
Of course, no problem at quarterback for Tennessee. They have one of the best they've ever had in Jeff Francis.
Second in the nation in passing efficiency last year. He's a great player. He's one of the best in the SEC, and they've got tremendous quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference. He's a guy that can read defenses. He's a guy that can make it happen, and he may be the difference in this game. If you're back in Knoxville and you're looking for the track team, forget it. They're here, and they're at wide receiver for Tennessee. It's a versatile, well-balanced offense.
Of course, he'll be throwing against a defense that he's never seen before, at least from Georgia.
No, nobody's ever seen this defense before. You come to Georgia, you expect to see the 60 defense. After 24 years, Vince Dooley's thrown out the 60 defense. They're going with something they call the multiple 7. They hope to do better against the pass. It'll be great fun watching it.
All right, we're also happy to have Chris Fowler working with us. He's down at the sidelines. Let's check in with him right now.
Thanks very much, Mike. Tennessee and Georgia, two states where college football is king. And the fans on both sides have waited 9 months for this opener. They're revved up, but they also have waited for some answers to some key questions. For Tennessee, is their defense finally physical enough to stop the ground attacks in the SEC? For Georgia, will their new defense help defend the pass better than it did last year? And will one of their two quarterbacks emerge as a team leader? The teams that has the positive answers to these questions can get a leg up on the SEC race by winning this game tonight. The team that loses is in an early hole. Should be a lot of fun. A great atmosphere down here, Mike.
It sure should, Chris. Here come the Volunteers, led by Johnny Majors in his 12th season, 10-2-1, and a Peach Bowl win last year. They brought 10,000 fans with them to Athens. And here come the Dogs. Vince Dooley coming out for his 25th consecutive opener. Georgia 9-3 last season, including a win in the Liberty Bowl. The CFA on ESPN is being brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 with Allstate. And by Nike, who reminds you to just do it.
No, Michael. I want it more Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Good job. You're not sure.
Oh, but I could be.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Bill!
Ace is the place.
Hey, Gene, can you give me a hand here?
Be right with you, John.
Thanks. Let me tell you, Jean's my favorite helpful hardware person. She knows everything. How to fix stuff, what tools to use, the right kind of paint to buy. Hey, there's nothing she doesn't know.
So how can I help you today, John?
I just got a couple jobs.
Well, nothing we can't handle. Let's start with the toggle bolt.
Toggle bolts?
Ace is the place.
She knows just what to do and how to do it. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is a place for me.
Even though each of these teams has a proud history in the Southeastern Conference, they haven't played each other all that much since 1899. This is only the 20th game. The last time they met, it was a Georgia blowout in 1981, 44-0 over Tennessee. We certainly do not expect any result like that today, 44-0 for either ball club. Johnny Majors, in his 12th year, he has won conference championships in 2 different conferences, a national championship at Pittsburgh. And after that national championship at Pitt, he came back to where he was an All-American and a great player at Tennessee. And Vince Dooley, 25 years at the University of Georgia, respected by his peers, respected by his opponents, and he has done it all here in Athens. 82,000, Kevin, not a bad way for these teams to start.
82 and 2 counting you and me, right?
That's right.
And we're glad to be here.
10,000 people from Tennessee made the trip. They'll make some noise, but they're outnumbered. Tennessee has won the toss. The Volunteers will receive. John Casey will kick off. And deep to receive, Keith Davis, number 28. Georgia sort of likes this starting on defense.
Well, I think it'll give us a chance to get a look at that defense and for Tennessee to look at it. And remember, it's brand new this year. Only one other time in 25 years did they not run the 60.
Casey booms this one, and Davis can't field it. The Volunteers quarterback record-setting Jeff Francis. He has Reggie Cobb, a 1,000-yard rusher as a freshman, and John Rollins behind him. Woods and Cleveland, a couple of very good receivers. Tennessee's rebuilt line starts with Ray Robinson at center. Davis and Still, the starting tackle last year, are the guards. Simon's their best lineman, and Stewart are the tackles. Senior Nate Middlebrooks is the starting tight end. They dump it to Cobb, and he dives forward past the 29-yard line. Terry Webster made the tackle on that Georgia defense. Noseman Bill Goldberg is the anchor. He's an outstanding player. The tackles are seniors Giles and Lovelace. Georgia is loaded at linebacker. Collins and Webster, an all-SEC candidate, are inside. We'll check the rest of that defense for you in just a minute. 2nd and 1. And they'll throw forward to the sideline. Complete first down, Chris Benson. Knocked out of bounds by Aaron Chubb and David Hargett. Rest of that defense, Aaron Chubb and Richard Tardit's a fine pass rusher. Ben Smith, a potential All-American, and Hargett are the corners. You just saw him. Guthrie and Beasley, the safeties in that new multiple 7 defense. Harper and Woods, the wide receivers now. Cobb last year, 1,196 yards as a freshman. Really surprised a lot of people. Won't surprise people this year, but the question is, surprise or not, can they stop it?
Well, Reggie Cobb got a lot of help from the fact that Jeff Francis is the quarterback and they throw so well. You have to guard against the pass, and that makes the run a little easier.
Cobb again. Running across the 40 to about the 41-yard line, and Brent Collins, number 93, one of the inside linebackers, got him.
Georgia's new defense allows them, hopefully, to play better pass defense, but the Dogs want to play against the run. That's their specialty. It has been for 25 years against under Vince Dooley, and they will have a tendency to come up and play the run.
Keith Davis, number 28, is in the backfield as Cobb gets a breather on 3rd and 5. Davis in trouble, gotten from behind, and it's Richard Tardich from Biarritz Ranch, the pass rushing specialist.
Some feel that number 92, who never played high school football, is the best outside pass rusher in the country, and there you see it. Just overwhelming the offensive back and making the sack for Georgia. That's what the multiple 7 allows them to do. That's the best thing that can happen to Georgia.
Kent Elmore to punt to Chuck Carswell. Elmore, a high school All-American. Carswell from the 20. Across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Fifth-year senior Wayne Johnson is Georgia's quarterback. The running backs are Hampton, who averaged 7 yards a carry last year, and Ellis, 87's leading receiver John Thomas, and Sean Humming. To the wideouts, center Todd Wheeler, a consensus All-SEC choice. The guards, Shelley Anderson and Lamont Tellis. The tackles, Scott Adams and Kurt Mull, both solid players. The tight end All-American candidate, Troy Sadowski. Rodney Hampton. 17 yards. The nose guard for Tennessee's defense is Charles McRae. The tackles, David Johnson and Marion Hobby. Hobby, their best down lineman. The inside linebackers, DeLong and Kelly. DeLong is a Butkus Award candidate. Brian Kimbrough and Tracy Hayworth, the outside linebackers. Very inexperienced corners, both sophomores, Warren and Lincoln. The safeties, Klein and Fletcher. They'll go with the fullback this time, Alfonso Ellis, normally a blocking back, and he pounds his way up near the 40. There is a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Mike Kelly made the tackle.
Another thing Georgia's been doing for 25 years is running that I formation and making it work. Outside, stretch the defense across the field and bust them inside with the fullback.
The call is going to go against Tennessee for offside.
What you're looking at here, Mike, is a very quick team on defense. Tennessee likes to jump around. They're very aggressive. The other side of the ball, you have a very strong, powerful, pounding team.
Defense, play first down.
It's power against finesse. Finesse defenses don't usually have great success. Coach Majors would like this team to be more aggressive and tougher. He was not happy last year.
No, they gave up 224 points last year. 1st and 5. Hampton. Big hole over the right side. He cut it back into Tennessee territory to the 44-yard line. An 8-yard gain for Rodney Hampton. The sophomore from Houston, Texas. Keith DeLong helped bring him down.
You've heard it a million times. The thing the I formation gives you is the cutback. Watch the offensive line there. Control. Look at the white hats getting pushed back, and Hampton, a great tailback, immediately cuts back past the middle guard, Charles McRae, and he gets big yardage.
They destroyed him at the line of scrimmage that time. Thomas will go to the right. Coming to the near side is Cummings. Back to throw Johnson for the first time. Dumps it to Hampton. Blockers in front. Got to the 40-yard line. Set screen all the way as Mike Kelly made the tackles. Even when they throw, it's a conservative call.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Mike. They keep it conservative. It's good for Wayne Johnson, too. 37% last year. Try to get those numbers up early. Hit a couple of short ones.
Johnson, a backup for 3 years. Was the starter in an upset win over Auburn a year ago. Started 2-85, but it's his job to win or lose right now. Hampton again on the toss. To about the 37-yard line. He'll be about 3 yards shy of a first down. Marion Hobby and Keith DeLong again on the stop.
This is the thing that you would expect to see late in the game. It's kind of a hot, humid evening here in Athens, and if Georgia was going to take over in a close game, you think they'd wear them down late in the game, but they seem to be stronger early in the game.
They're wearing them down right now.
Yeah, they really are.
Hampton's 3 for 22, 3rd and 3 right now. Hampton again. Very close to the first down as he reached the Tennessee 34-yard line. Right now it's just power football. Kerry Bailey, number 53, made the stop. And it is a first down.
Here's Keith DeLong, their All-American candidate, Butkus Award winner. He made a commitment on the wrong side of the ball. When you have a player like Hampton, you need to sit a little bit, just a little bit, but the problem is that gives the offensive lineman a running start, so he committed, he picked the wrong hole. Hampton busted it.
Worley and Henderson, now the running backs. Worley, number 38, the deep man in the eye. Worley, or Henderson, excuse me. Henderson breaks it straight up the middle of the 20-yard line. And they're eating up the Tennessee defense. That time the cornerback, Jeremy Lincoln, had to make the stop.
Wheeler and Tellis and Anderson and all those guys in the middle of the line just killing them. And now it's just a matter of handing it to the fullback, and there's nobody there. You see DeLong missing just there, and now the cornerback has to come up and make the tackle. You're right, Mike. There's just no defense there for Tennessee.
1st and 10. Bulldogs at the 20. Worley. Flag is down. Worley is 2, but not before he gains 6 yards. Brian Kimbrough, the outside linebacker, made the stop. We'll check the call for you. First thing Georgia's done wrong, a holding call.
That's got to drive Vince crazy. Unnecessary. They're physically dominant here. There's no reason to hold. No reason at all. A lot of time that's by habit. You do it in practice, and you come out in the game and you just grab. Even though you are defeating the defensive player, you just naturally grab him.
They move it back to the 30, 1st and 20, the first penalty of the ball game on Georgia, and this is not the kind of situation where the Georgia offense thrives.
Screen and draw you're looking for here. They're in a power backfield. They got to come out of that. They got to come out of that before the ball is snapped.
Worley. 1st and 20, apparently the same as 3rd and 2. They'll go off tackle.
But well, this is a team, too. This is a team that can get 20 yards in 3 plays on the ground. They just did it all the way up and down the field. And Vince Dooley historically has been a very conservative coach. He has a good kicking game, and he's at home. So he wants to get on the board. He didn't want to put the ball up with no confidence in the passing game and have it intercepted.
2nd and 16. Cummings near side, Thomas far side. They're the wideouts. Plenty of time over the middle. It's intercepted. Picked up by Preston Warren. Preston Warren, he might go all the way. Tripped up as he neared midfield by Wayne Johnson, the quarterback. He saved the touchdown on a 43-yard interception return.
Preston Warren sitting back there in the zone. Johnson, bad throw. That thing wasn't close to anybody, too high. And now a great job of running by Warren. But I want you to watch number 18, the quarterback, and what a terrific job he does. You look at Johnson play off this block and make a tackle that might have saved the touchdown. That's a pretty good job by a quarterback on defense.
Tennessee in business on 1st down, and it's Roland Poles stuffed in his own backfield. A big play by the defense after a turnover.
Yeah, after the turnover, and also on that first series, I did want to make a point of what a lift that must have been. These guys have got to be a little worried. They were all brought up on the 60 defense, and now they're playing this multiple 7, which basically is a 3-man line instead of a 4-man line. You have extra help in pass coverage.
Reggie Cobb and Roland Poles are the running backs. Floated out to Poles, and he couldn't hold on. The defense and dropped the ball. Perfectly
the things that's so important playing defense is disguising the defense. It's easier to do in a 34 than a 60 defense. And Georgia, on that play, faked the blitz, dropped back into coverage, and I think they messed up Jeff Francis a little bit. He had to dump it off, did a nice job, and the ball was dropped. But a good job of disguise by the Bulldogs.
3rd and 13. Vince Moore, number 1, in as an extra wide receiver. 4-man rush. Plenty of time for Francis. Throws too high, incomplete, intended for Alvin Hartford.
Well, everything worked here for Tennessee except the pass. You'll see this one again. Francis does a great job, but he throws the ball too high. Lucky it wasn't intercepted, but a good job in protection, and that man was wide open. We'll see that pattern again.
Ken Elmore comes on to punt to Carswell. His first one went 47 yards. Beauty this time. Crushed it. And Carswell does a nice job of faking and letting it go into the end zone. 55-yard kick. No score, first quarter. Is being brought to you by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. And by Rheem, the air of quality. 7 minutes, 28 seconds to go in the first quarter of play. Georgia and Tennessee, nothing. Mike Patrick along with Kevin Conley and Chris Fowler. Glad you could join us. It's been exciting already. Georgia with its second possession. They drove it right down Tennessee's throat the first time they had it, and then threw an interception. Great for Worley. Johnson will keep it. Got 6 yards out of it. Finally knocked down by Cedric Klein, the strong safety out of Loudon, Tennessee. Interesting call there, Kevin, because the last time he had the ball, he threw the interception. Is that Coach Dooley giving him a little confidence, maybe?
Well, I'm a little confused. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that you have to give the guy an opportunity, but I was confused about the call that was intercepted, and you're right, that was a strange call.
Henderson. Another big hole right up the middle. The second time the fullback has exploded. That time he got to the 36.
Well, one of the concerns of Tennessee is that their middle guard, number 70, Charles McCray, may be too tall. He may be too big. See how he gets his head over? Look at the offensive player, how low he is. McCray is getting pushed right out. He needs to get lower and get rid of that guy. If he doesn't do it, Georgia's going to run up the middle all day.
Alfonso Ellis back in at fullback. Worley the tailback. Worley. Ran over 2 people and a third. Finally brought down by Mark Fletcher. That's 216 pounds of speed and power. Look at this. He isn't fired up or anything.
Well, Worley missed last year, Mike. He was out. Prop 48 kid. He wasn't even part of the program, and now he's back this year. And after sitting out a year, you're ready. This guy is ready.
Well, he's had his troubles here just all last year, as you mentioned, with the academics. 86, he had a knee injury. 85 was his only good year. Hampton is back in. Worley will get a breather as Vince Dooley shuttles backs. 2nd and 1. Hampton. The numbers may change. The results stay the same. Preston Warren knocked him out. Georgia so far averaging 7.5 yards a carry on first down.
I believe I said Worley was a Proposition 48, but he was not.
No.
He was not a Proposition 48.
Look at the stat on the rushing yards. Tennessee not even. Georgia already has 74 in the first quarter. Hampton. A lot of room in the middle of that line. He crosses the Tennessee 45 to about the 43-yard line.
Another thing for a linebacker, you may be wondering about the long. Your play in a 50 defense really depends on that middle guard. If that middle guard did not hold his ground as a linebacker, you don't have anywhere to go. You got to be jumping over your own people. And Georgia is really dominating the defensive line, pushing them back, and that's going to kill those linebackers.
2nd and 6, approaching the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Hampton again. Huge hole. Hampton. Touchdown, Georgia. Rodney Hampton goes 43 yards for the touchdown. John Casey will try the point after. And it's 7-0 Dogs.
We just talked about it. You're going to see it from behind. McCray has got to hold his ground, and the linebackers have got to have some place to run. Watch the offensive line for Georgia. Great lead blocking. You got a fullback offensive lineman. Look at the hole, and then look at Hampton. But you've got to give this to the offensive line of Georgia. They've done a great job. Worn down the Tennessee defense early, and now it's just a track meet. Rodney Hampton doing just as everyone expected him to do.
Go over Jeep Cherokee's advantages, and certain things stand out. Cherokee gives you a choice of 2 or 4 doors, 2 shift-on-the-fly 4-wheel drive systems, and an optional 4-liter 6-cylinder engine that's more powerful, far more powerful, than anything in its class. All of this is precisely why 4-Wheel and Off-Road magazine named Jeep Cherokee 4x4 of the Year for the 2nd time.
Save up to $1,950 on selected Jeep vehicles during America's Winners Clearance.
Who do you call to defeat the heat? Call me Green.
.49 to go. Georgia kicking off. Davis driven 9 yards deep in the end zone. And Tennessee will have to start from its own 20-yard line.
I want you to watch number 63 in red. Todd Wheeler, what a great job he does. Turning the middle guard, and then Ellis, 33, comes in, opens a hole big enough for anybody to run through. Certainly this guy, Rodney Hampton, using those great legs and going south with the ball. That was bound to happen the way this game was going early.
At this rate, Tennessee badly needs some offensive punch in a hurry. It doesn't look like they'll be able to stop Georgia. Cobb. There's the punch, and Cobb is out to the 30. This may be a matchup of tailbacks, and we've got some good ones. Scoring drive, 80 yards, all on the ground. 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Hampton with a 43-yard run for the score.
You wonder why Georgia's been so good so long. They don't do much, but what they do very well. Reminds you of the old Green Bay teams.
Sure does. 2nd and inches. They'll go with the fullback, John Rollins, and Rollins has the first down. Wycliffe Lovelace on the stop.
I really believe, Mike, that Tennessee, although they like to pass the ball, they really need to establish the run in this game and keep their defense off the field. They're clearly overmatched, and they can't be left out there.
Francis, good play fake to Cobb. Under some pressure, throws near sideline. Cleveland wide open. Closest man to him was the best defensive back Georgia has, junior Ben Smith, but it's a 25-yard gain.
Vince Guthrie had the short zone here, and then Cleveland found himself loose. Watch 54. 54, he needs to get out. He needs to get back quicker than that. See 54 short, and then they find the open spot, and Francis drops it in front of the deep man. Now, you can't give a guy like Francis that kind of room in a zone. You've got to get back quicker.
And Guthrie is the strong safety in this new defense, but he played it more like a linebacker. Francis again, Cleveland to the 11-yard line. The safety, Rusty Beasley, had to make the tackle.
You're going to see some very familiar people here. You're going to see Guthrie again, 54. Same thing to the other side. He doesn't go wide. He comes down the middle in the seam. Francis recognizes immediately and gets it to him in a dead spot in the zone. And this is new for Georgia now. They're trying to play a 7-man defensive pass coverage, and they're not getting it done.
down Tennessee. Cobb. Well, he was stuffed by Bill Goldberg, the nose man, who had 107 tackles last year, the most ever by a down lineman at Georgia, and he is a good one.
All-American candidate. Now, how does the game change now, Mike? The ball's inside the 15-yard line. Well, it takes away the stretch, the vertical stretch for Tennessee offensively, and Georgia has an advantage. If Tennessee tries to run, they're much more efficient against the run defensively.
3 wide receivers in the ball game on 2nd and 10. Good block. Got to the 7-yard line. He had a chance to break that one, and Georgia closed very well.
Draw play's a good play against four linebackers, Mike. And the reason is when you're standing up, when you're down 4-man front, it's easier to read a draw because you can feel the offensive line. When you're standing up, you have to watch, and you don't exactly know what you're looking at.
3rd and 5. Francis unloads in a hurry under pressure. Intended for Thomas Woods, and he wanted an interference call. Coming hard was Paul Giles right in the face of Jeff Francis. And Tennessee will have to settle for the field goal try.
Georgia doesn't blitz much, but if you back them up, they'll blitz you. Giles, a nice job there, hurried Francis.
Chip McCallum, a 5'10 freshman, a walk-on who earned a scholarship, will try a 25-yard field goal. And he hits it. Tennessee on the scoreboard with 2:13 to go first quarter, 7-3 Georgia.
Be unconventional. Your Super 7 Chrysler Plymouth dealers celebrate GOP time with grand old prices. The official Chrysler Plymouth 88 clear-out. Big savings plus Chrysler cashback on selected models. New Yorker, make a great deal. Sundance, make a great deal plus cashback. LeBaron Convertible, make a great deal. Voyager, make a great deal. Get grand old prices and great new deals during our official 88 clear-out. Big deals, big rebates at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers. We mean business. Anyone.
Tennessee on the scoreboard officially a 24-yard field goal. They're down 7-3, and Tennessee will kick it away. Rodney Hampton and Tim Worley. Hampton from the 3. Hampton across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. 18-yard return on the kickoff. And as usual, we will keep you up to date on some scores throughout the day. Nebraska rolling over Utah State. Clemson with a big start against Virginia Tech in Death Valley. West Virginia, as expected, rolling over Bowling Green. Bino Cook's #1 pick. Florida doing the same to Montana State in the 4th quarter. Hampton so far, 7 carries, 79 yards. Naked bootleg throws for Sadowski, complete at the 33. Kevin, we just saw some blowout scores by teams who had, some easy openers. This is a little different.
In retrospect, they were very easy openers. Yeah, this could be for the SEC title.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's a plus too. I think you have trouble getting ready for teams like that. They win those games on sheer talent, not effort so much.
Right.
I know the people aren't going to like to hear that. In this game, I think you come out here and you got to be sky high in Athens with Tennessee and Georgia.
It also means, there's Uga, it also means you have to get your club ready earlier. You don't have a cakewalk the first couple of weeks. You're going to play somebody like this. Hampton again. Flag goes down, and Tennessee has obviously not solved the problem in the middle of that defense. They are eating that up. We'll check the penalty for you. Second holding call against the Bulldogs here in the opening quarter. And Vince not pleased at all.
You know, I'll tell you what's going on here, what's happening. The Tennessee defense being pushed down the field the first couple of series, they're complaining to the referees. And they're saying, this guy's holding me, this guy's holding me. And believe it or not, if you do it enough, then they start seeing holding. Then it appears, and they'll call it. And I can guarantee you they're complaining about it.
Well, they better get a few more at this rate.
Yeah.
Georgia has been dominant first and 20. Strong runner up to the 30 across, maybe to the 31. Tomorrow, Game Day previews week 1 of the NFL's regular season at 7:15. Primetime delivers all the highlights, reports from all NFL games. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, John Saunders, Pete Axthelm, and the premiere of Game Day and Primetime tomorrow on ESPN. Hope you'll be with us for that. 2nd and 12, Georgia. And a cheer goes up from the 10,000 Tennessee fans who made the trip.
To laugh about Georgia. Now, Georgia is a problem in reverse. You're playing defense against a team and you get them 1st and 20 or 2nd and 15. You sit there and you think pass. You say, okay. You're playing against Georgia and they dive the fullback out of the eye. 2nd and 12. That's a little arrogant, I think. Here we come.
They've been arrogant for 25 years with good reason.
And made it work, yeah.
Got it off just before the end of the quarter. Draw on 3rd and long. Whirling. Big hit as he got to the 43-yard line. Popped by Jeremy Lincoln, the defensive cornerback on the right side. But he's very, very close to the first down. And once again, 3rd and long, and Georgia goes back to the ground.
That play should never have worked. I don't know how Tennessee can't come out of their huddle thinking draw play against this team. Against a passing team, you would think about down and out or a hook over the middle right around the first down marker. Against Georgia, you got to think screen and draw. Look how wide open this thing is. Now, you've got to watch him whirly until the quarterback, everybody's gone out of the defense. You got to sit in that defense and wait for him to come on the draw.
And it is a first down for the Dogs. It's also the end of the first quarter, dominated by Georgia. They lead Tennessee 7-3. You see a lot of these around Athens. They love their Bulldogs. And the first quarter did nothing to harm that love. They're up 7-3. They have the football and driving again on Tennessee. Worley in a tailback, Ellis in front of him. Screen. He slipped one tackle, got across the 45 to the 46. He had the other wide receiver, Sean Hummings, out there blocking for him, and Hummings didn't give him too good a block.
That's a set play. Yeah, wide receiver. These are track guys. If you want him to help him put his shoes on, his track cleats, that's one thing, but the block, that's a whole different thing. All right, there's Hummings trying to make, I don't know what kind of block. What kind of block is that? He's playing touch. Good job there by Preston. Preston Warren coming up.
Worley, another huge hole. Keeps his balance long enough to get to the Tennessee 42. 13-yard gain. Boy, they're just eating them up.
Tennessee needs to commit more people to the run. Here's DeLong now, the All-American candidate. He's not coming up quick enough. He gets rid of the block, but you got to keep your feet. See, that guy's too big. He's 216 pounds. DeLong has got to be able to get off the block, keep his feet, and get up into the ball carrier to stop it.
Shelley Anderson, number 61, was the guy who threw that block. Worley again, another huge hole in the middle to the Tennessee 33-yard line. They're just ripping off 9-yard chunks at the minimum. Marion Hobby and Preston Warren made the tackle. Hampton is in. Worley is out. They both might get 200 at this rate.
Johnny Major's got to be disappointed in his defense. He thought he had better people. He wanted to be more aggressive. They're getting handled.
Hampton on the toss. Hurdles to the 29. You're a tailback at Georgia. You play hard.
again. Now he's going to get outside. He's got a better chance here. But look at how the red shirts are pushing back the white shirts. DeLong, a nice job getting up underneath Hampton, but he still gets yardage. You see it from outside the end now. This is what you see coming around. Look at the red. Good block on the corner, and here comes Hampton. DeLong makes the stop, but they still pick up a first down.
Tennessee has asked for a timeout with 13:07 to go in the corner. The Volunteer defense under Johnny Majors trying to regroup. Back live, second quarter, and so far, Hampton has gained 91 yards and scored a touchdown. They've got bumper stickers. Hampton for the Heisman down here as a sophomore. Worley, who has split time with him, has gained 45 yards on 5 carries. First and 10, Bulldogs. Hampton to the 24. If you can't stop it, they'll keep doing it.
Missed tackle on the outside there. That was just, that was not good. I mean, these guys got to close harder. The Tennessee people, the concern was they were not physical enough, and they had very real concern because these guys have not looked very physical.
May have seen Troy Sadowski, the tight end, on blocking on that last play. They asked him the difference between the tight end and tackle as we see a fumble, and Tennessee is recovered. It's Preston Warren. Alfonso Ellis coughed it up, and Preston Warren made the recovery.
All right, here's where they come now. Tennessee coming hard here. Now watch the tackle on Warren. Warren makes a good cut. He wants to come out. Excuse me, Ellis wants to come outside. He makes a good cut. Somebody's going to stick his hand in there and get the ball. Well, he just coughed it up. DeLong, that's DeLong making the tackle. Warren coming up to make the hit, finds the ball in his way, and he's able to pick it up. And Tennessee, 2 big defensive plays now, an interception, a fumble recovery, but we might have a blowout.
Those 2 turnovers very critical so far. Try a screen. That might be a loose ball. That was very close to being a lateral intended for Vince Moore. Nobody went for the ball, and the official ruled it incomplete. Boy, that was awful close to being a lateral.
I thought exactly the same thing. I can't believe that receiver didn't dive on that. When they practice that play, they've got to talk about that, the possibility of a lateral.
Offsides Georgia is the call.
He throws it from behind the line, the yard line marker, and it is a forward pass. Ball goes over across the line.
Well, we were both wrong. It's happened before.
You made me wrong.
Yes, I did. I led you into it.
Yes.
Second and 5, Tennessee. Make it first and 5. Scoreboard is incorrect. Got a good tailback in there. Keith Davis, and Davis breaks a tackle across the 35. To the 38-yard line, and a flag is down late. David Hargett knocked him down.
Excuse me, Mike. Keith Davis, a great story. Guy was virtually out of football a couple of years ago. Terrible knee injury. And he's back now 100%, they say. Great tailback.
So freshman rushed for 684 yards, and this one will bring it back. Not been a good first half for Johnny Major.
And yet it's 7-3.
Yeah.
It really has been an awful first half, and it's 7-3.
Keep you up on some other scores. Kentucky beats Central Michigan. Wisconsin a loser to Western Michigan. Tough way to start for the Badgers. And in a surprise, at least for the margin of victory, Washington State pounded lumps on Illinois. Air Force beating Colorado State by 6. Tennessee got it right back. Davis may have had it bounce right back in his stomach.
A fortuitous bounce, as we heard the other night. If ever there was a fortuitous bounce, that's it. Got hit the back of that fella's foot there is what happened. Didn't bounce it, hit a Tennessee player's foot, came right back to Davis.
Now, the back is not looking for the football. The quarterback's got to put it in there for him.
He shouldn't be looking for it.
Second and 12. Yeah, shouldn't is right. Francis right back. Hardit's coming hard. He got rid of it and has a man out there. Drop! Anthony Morgan let it go right through his hands.
Anthony Morgan, considered the top high school receiver in the nation. Coming out of high school, he's got everything. Supposedly hands too. Got to be a little tight. This ball is laid right. He just outruns the defense but does not catch it. That was Ben Smith trailing him. And you just don't get him any better than that.
Smith last year as a sophomore voted the 5th best defensive back in the country by the Sporting News. Francis has had 3 dropped. He's still 4 out of 8. Francis under pressure again, and they've got him. The sack for Georgia goes to Hiawatha Berry, the backup nose guard.
I was hoping Hiawatha would make a play so we could do his name. Again, that 34 defense, you don't know where the pass rush is coming from. It makes a big difference. And the 4-down linemen in the 60, you knew those 4 were going to rush, but with the 34, it's a different story. It worked for Georgia there. They got that pass rush they needed.
The officials talking something over, and it's a hold against Georgia. That's a big, big break for Tennessee. Vince has done that a few times in 25 years.
I'm wondering why they put the dog's name on the hats.
It's a 10-yard penalty, so it's still going to be 3rd and about 2.
All right, if I'm a linebacker, I'm real nervous. If I'm a linebacker, I'm real nervous here because you got to figure they're going to try to isolate a linebacker on the receiver here and get that first down.
Do go to throw, quick sideline, complete, thrown to Woods. Woods breaks it, tackle down to the 50-yard line. Let's get down to the sideline and Chris Fowler.
All right, that's Ben Smith again, and Woods is just so quick. Smith's a little nervous coming up on this guy. He's a little bit of a track guy. Very quick. Smith gets there late, and Woods jumps right inside him, and that's why he's nervous about it.
We'll get back to Chris on the sideline in a moment. It's a first down in midfield. Reggie Kopp back in the tailback. Moore at the 30 to the 25. What a block he got from Thomas Woods. Woods leveled the defensive back, and what a lot of room he had after he made the catch.
A lot of people over there, a lot of receivers. Francis, it looks like he's throwing short and it's overthrown, but no, he's not. And watch Woods, number 5, come up here and help out his buddy. Boom. Oh. Vince Moore has got to thank him. Vince Moore has the ball and Woods has the defensive player. Great, great receiver work there by Tennessee, and they're marching now.
Woods is 164 pounds. He got all of it behind that shoulder pad. Francis with plenty of time. Throws this one up for grabs, and it's incomplete. Back on coverage was David Hargan. It was intended for Harper, but Francis may not have been happy with that decision if it turned out a little differently.
Yeah, that was not a good throw. And remember what I said about the vertical stretch. When they get close, Tennessee, they don't have as much field to work with. That's a real bad decision by Francis. A floater into the end zone, and it's anybody's ball. And luckily for Tennessee, it falls away.
2nd and 10. Volunteers, 10:32 to go in the second quarter. They've been dominated in this game, and yet they have a chance to go ahead right here.
Look out for a crossing pattern here, Mike.
Delay to Cobb instead. Cobb cuts it outside. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Here's the case of an offense helping out their defense by keeping them off the field and getting points on a drive. Great play on the left side of the line, sealing this thing off by Simons and Davis. And here comes Cobb with nobody out there. Shows the great leg strength, high kicking it into the end zone. Tennessee, great drive, coming back.
Chip McCallum will try the point after out of the hold of Lee England. And it's good. Tennessee stuns the sellout crowd of Georgia. They've got the lead.
A performance you won't forget.
That's Reggie Cobb, who just ripped off 20 yards and gave Tennessee a 10-7 second quarter lead. You're watching ESPN, Tennessee and Georgia. Mike Patrick, Kevin Kiley, and Chris Fowler with you. Glad you can join us. It's been a great one so far. Hampton and Worley are deep. Hampton a yard in the end zone. Hesitates and brings it out anyway. Stopped at the 18-yard line. Let's get out of the sideline and Chris Fowler.
Thanks very much, Mike. Number 2 on the depth chart at quarterback for Georgia is Greg Talley, a redshirt freshman out of Valdosta, Georgia. He came in as the backup, and he comes from a great tradition of football in Valdosta. The program produced Buck Bellew and John Lastinger, other Bulldog quarterbacks. Talley led his team in high school to the national championship in 1986.
He has Worley and Henderson behind him. Sort of runs into Henderson as he gave him that handoff, and Talley's got to have a few butterflies in his first varsity play. Marion Hobby made the tackle.
Interesting about Talley, in the spring, Johnson was hurt, Mike. He did not play in the spring. Talley got all the work at number 1. So here's a kid coming in as a backup who's had a tremendous amount of experience, except for game experience. He's not quick, but he's got a strong arm, quick release, and he can throw the ball.
2nd and 6. Worley slipped the tackle at the 20-yard line. Got away from Terry Bailey, the middle guard. Tennessee has not tackled well at all.
No, they haven't, and that was a real big concern, as I said earlier, of Johnny Majors. And that, you know, I'll tell you, they stun a lot and they stem. They move around a tremendous amount on defense because they're not real big, and that sometimes takes you out of position to make a tackle.
3rd and 2, Dogs. Worley hurdles to the 31-yard line. First down, Georgia. DeLong is there again. These guys are as good airborne as they are on the ground.
Boy, tough to stop. These Tellis and Kurt Mull on the right side doing their job, holding their blocks, and then you got Worley just going airborne. If you're playing defense, you love guys to do that. A guy with good, strong legs, when he goes airborne, he doesn't weigh anything. If you get in position when he does that, you can really do a job on him. I'd be a little nervous. Hampton and Worley both doing it.
Worley, 7 carries, 54 yards so far. Talley throws low, intended for Keith Henderson. Got to be a little tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Big crowd.
Here's the Tennessee scoring drive. 76 yards and only 2:09. Cobb capped it off, but the drive belonged to the Tennessee passing game.
We knew they had an offense. I think they adjusted to the Georgia defense. They had never seen it before either. Didn't know what they were going to do. I think they made some adjustments, and they're starting to get it going.
2nd and 10, Georgia. Warner's the tight end, shifts to the far side. Worley. Stuffed him that time. Didn't get past the 34, gain of only a couple.
Nice job by the linebackers there, Mike. They didn't hesitate on that play, and the line held their ground. The linebackers, both linebackers got up into the hole, did a good job.
Looked like the Tennessee defense made a decision early. They've got Shazan Bradley, number 40, in there. He's a freshman, a great talent, and they said has maybe the best chance of anybody to contribute as a freshman on this ball club, and he is in there now. Beware of the dog and beware of the hairdo.
Beware of the name, Shazan. What did Captain Marvel used to say though?
It was Shazam.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Close enough. Worley broke 2 tackles and got to the 44, first down. He is stronger than 216 pounds would indicate.
I'll tell you, Herschel Walker set the precedent. Everybody else is following up here. Worley is a horse. DeLong, an All-American candidate, he might as well be a fly. He bounces off, and Worley gets that extra yard. Good, hard running there by Worley.
Preston Warren, the cornerback, got swatted, too.
Yeah.
Hampton back in at tailback. It's a heck of a run to gain 2 yards. Casey Rogers, number 99, another freshman from Humboldt, Tennessee, was the guy who had a shot at him in the backfield.
Nice job by Tennessee's defense, Mike. The entire defensive unit was in the area when that tackle was made. As much as they've been beat up here, they're still running to the ball.
Hampton, 11 carries, 98 yards in the first half. And they are not playing the Little Sisters of the Poor. Hampton on the delay. Dragged down from behind, but still crossed midfield, and DeLong again on the tackle. DeLong is going to need a nap at halftime. Coming up Thursday, 20th ranked Texas, the Longhorns against Brigham Young. You'll see Heisman Trophy candidate Eric Metcalf and a great middle linebacker, Brett Hager. BYU lost its opener to Wyoming. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Thursday night. Johnny Majors just hoping his defense can stop Georgia. Georgia mistakes have been the only thing that have stopped them so far. To the Tennessee 44-yard line to the fullback, Keith Henderson. And Talley looked very calm on that, very much in control.
You're right, Mike. And you know what he did? He had linebacker coverage here, and Talley just kept running and running and running. So here's DeLong and Chazan here chasing him. And he just waited for him to clear, and he waited and waited to hit him in the chest. And that's, I think that's impressive. Vince Dooley putting the ball in the hands of his freshman quarterback, needing a first down.
DeLong gets a breather, and Ernest Fields, number 23, is in there at a linebacker spot. And Hampton goes right over top of him down to the Tennessee 39-yard line.
Every first down. When you play against a team like Georgia, you know, they're pounders, and you're playing defense. Every time they get a first down, you go back to the huddle, you take a deep breath, and you go, 3 more of these. 3 more of these. And I'll tell you, gets these two backs, Hampton and Worley, that's got to be demoralizing when they do that.
Hampton took himself out of the game. He's already had 100 yards, and Hampton comes back in. He's close, too. Nice play fake by Talley. Deep over the middle, incomplete. Off the hands of John Thomas. He was hit by Preston Warren just after the ball got there.
Preston Warren is impressing me. He's having a big game. The nose of this ball is down a little bit. Looks very strange in the air, but Thomas, he had already dropped that ball when he turned around, and he tell himself when he gets back to the bench or wherever he's going, drop it, fine, don't turn around. If you're going to get hit, it's better to get hit in the back of the head.
Warren, one of those cornerbacks with very little experience, won the job in the spring, 3rd and 5 for Talley and Georgia. Georgia's converted every 3rd down so far. Talley comes the blitz. Somehow he got rid of him. Worley caught him. And he's dragged down for a loss at the 42. Nice play by Ernest Fields. And pressure by Tennessee's defense.
Very, very slow here. Talley, this play developed so slow. Look at Talley. He just kind of wandering around out here. He's going to get Hardy on the backside, coming hard. Then he throws a balloon, and here comes the rest of the defense while the ball's in the air. Worley's got to be saying, should I catch it? Should I drop it?
Joey Hester is on to punt. There are his numbers from last year. And Thomas Woods deep to receive. Woods averaged 11.3 on punt returns last season. Fair catch, makes it at the 9. And with 4:29 to go in the half, Tennessee leading 10-7. They have the football back inside their own 10. Tennessee with the football at their own 10-yard line. 4:29 to go in the first half, and Georgia has marched up and down the field on the ground, but somehow they're behind Tennessee 10-7. It was that last drive where Francis really started clicking. Give it to the fullback, John Rollins. Rollins pile driving his way out to the 13, converted tight end, carrying John Allen with him.
One of the concerns Georgia had when they went to the 3-4 defense is could they stop the run? There's your answer. Allen getting him right under the face mask where he needs to get him, and here's the rest of the Bulldogs.
2nd and 7. Francis gives it to Cobb, and Cobb flat as he got to the 14-yard line. Virgil Cole, number 99, in there. Cole, converted offensive lineman, so Georgia has done some switching in position.
This is a tough team to break in a new defense. They're so quick outside. They got all those track guys, these receivers, and they can flat out run Georgia's defense if they want to. If they catch them in the wrong defense, they can just race down the field, and you've seen it earlier in the game. It's a tough down for Georgia.
Georgia has a lot of second-team defensive players in there, including Demetrius Douglas, number 53, a very good linebacker. He's coming on a blitz. Francis dumps it to his fullback. John Rollins made the grab, tripped up by John Allen, but that will be a first down, Tennessee. Nice, conservative, safe call, and it got the job done.
And, you know, the thing, Georgia was in a straight zone defense. They're a 2-deep zone. They're trying to do the job, but they, you know, personnel-wise, they really don't have the great pass defense personnel, and Francis is a good enough quarterback to exploit that. Vince knows it, and he's just trying to contain this offense.
Francis appears to be changing the play. Plenty of time. Throws near sideline to Cobb. Cobb stayed in bounds, got it to his own 49-yard line. Demetrius Douglas and David Hargett, 25, made the stop.
Again, he gets it in between his zone. Now here's Francis, no pressure. Just dropping it in between, over the short man and in front of the long zone or the deep zone. Cobb coming out of the backfield, there's just no defense for that. That's a linebacker's responsibility, and these guys aren't used to playing linebacker.
Francis 8 out of 13, 151 yards. He's had an outstanding first half. 3 dropped on top of that. Fullback again, John Rollins, 219 pounds into Georgia territory. Both teams very, very impressive on offense, but both showing very big holes on defense.
Georgia's a team that needs to pass successfully, and they'll have to throw the ball more in the second half against this team. Tennessee has made some adjustments, and they're containing the running game. They're not stopping it, but they're not getting in the end zone either.
Keith Davis is in at tailback, number 28. They like to throw to him. Francis goes deep. He's got Woods. Touchdown, Tennessee. There is a flag down. It'll come back. Scratch a 49-yard touchdown bomb. Francis on the money with it.
Tell you, Mike, on this play, they had twin receivers to the far side, and they got isolated coverage. Mike Guthrie was a defensive end last year, number 54, and I want you to see who's the closest to Thomas Woods, the leading receiver for Tennessee. That's a defensive end trying to cover their leading receiver. Vince Guthrie down the field. Guy was a defensive end last year. There's just no contest there. They got him backside coverage. They isolated. They made it work. Penalty brings it back.
2nd and 17 now for Tennessee after the penalty. Francis wants Cobb on a screen. Got 3 men in front of him. Cobb down to the Georgia 39-yard line. Tom Myslinski threw him a big block. Virgil Cole made the tackle. Cobb says, I'll take a breather.
Most important thing when you're defending a screen is the way they draw it up on the blackboard is you got a triangle around the guy. I have to laugh when I see this. They say, all right, you get a guy on the inside of him, a guy on the outside of him, and a guy in the middle, so that if he breaks either way, you tackle him. The way you actually defend is you roll over and just throw yourself through the air and try to get the guy.
1st and 10, Tennessee with 1:09 to go, first half. Francis again going for the bomb. This one overthrown. Good coverage that time on Anthony Morgan. Right with him was David Hargett. It's the 2nd time they've sent Morgan deep on a fly pattern.
Hargett's a legitimate defensive back. It helps to have a defensive back instead of a defensive end covering downfield. And that's what Tennessee's trying to do. By formation, they're trying to move people around and get that isolated coverage on some of these guys that are not used to playing back there.
And that has been the Achilles heel of the Georgia defense, is playing those passes, and they tried to switch the defense this year. Four-man rush, Francis in trouble. Richard Tardis gets his second sack.
From France. Never played football, but this is a tough customer. And I said earlier, he takes that outside route better than anybody maybe in the entire country. And he gets to Francis. It's good because he had a wide open deep guy going straight down the field. Richard Tardis.
Tennessee uses another timeout. Tardis getting a little breather with 50 seconds to go in the half.
Some people's idea of a good time leaves the rest of us cold.
Do you know how fast you were going?
Coming up at halftime, Tim Brando and Bino Cook will update you on all the scores and highlights from around the world of college football. 50 seconds to go in the first half, 3rd and 16 for Tennessee. They already lead 10-7. Francis with time on the scramble, throws sideline complete at the 31. That's a yard shy of a first down to Thomas Woods. It will be 4th and 1 with 40 seconds to go. 4th and 1, you go for the first down or you go downfield?
Oh, you go for the first down. I think you got Francis, a great control receiver, and they've been killing these underneath linebackers. I think it's almost a sure thing. Cobb was, he's going to go for the field goal.
Well, there's the third option. We hadn't thought of that.
Well, I just didn't think he would.
Chip McCallum will try one from 48 yards. Long enough, but it's wide. Difficult for Chip McCallum.
Well, he had the leg. The ball was long enough, but still, when you try and hit it that hard, a lot of times you will yank it. You know, it gives you an idea what kind of game he thinks this is.
Yes, it does.
Even though his defense has been pushed all over the field, Mike, he's going for 3 points. He must think this is going to be a low-scoring, close game. That is an interesting call for a lot of reasons.
Georgia with 2 first-half turnovers, even though they have dominated on offense. Tally in a quarterback, the redshirt freshman. He's 3 of 5 so far. Wouldn't want to bet Worley will get this, would you? Worley gets it out to the 34-yard line, and Georgia will be content, it appears, to let the clock run out. Marion Hobby and David Johnson, the tackles, were in on the stop.
Mike, they've been running the clock out since the first snap.
That's right.
That's what they do.
Georgia in no hurry. You see the clock. They will run another play. They'll go straight up the middle with the fullback, Keith Henderson. And that's the end of the first half in front of 82,000 people at Sanford Stadium in Athens. Our score, Tennessee 10, Georgia 7. Let's go to our studios and join Tim Brando. Thanks very much. And it's been an interesting first half in that our score is only 10-7. Kevin, it could have been a lot more than this.
Yeah, well, they did get into the end zone one other time, but they had the thing called back. That was probably the biggest play of the half, and the 2 turnovers by Georgia. Tennessee forcing an interception, recovering a fumble. Georgia has run up and down the field. Tennessee's passed up and down the field.
Georgia will receive as we start the second half. Hampton and Worley are deep for McCallum's kick. That's McCallum, number 10. freshman from Marietta, Georgia. Crowd of 82,000 plus on hand here. And it was an exciting offensive first half. Neither team really stopped the other. Mistakes stopped the offense. Guys, if you're waiting for us, you go ahead and kick it. Yeah. We're ready.
Maybe they don't want to kick it after the first half.
Well, look who's back there. Worley and Hampton. I wouldn't want to kick it either. Worley at the 2. Again, airborne to the 25-yard line. Taken down by Shazan Bradley. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics, and a lot of offensive yards, but in different ways, Kevin.
The biggest stat there are those 2 turnovers under the Georgia helmet. Georgia going in on both of them, or at least having very significant drives. They turned the ball over. Tennessee stayed in the game and took the lead.
Wayne Johnson will open the second half at quarterback. He gives it to Hampton on the toss. And Hampton, for one of the few times today, stacked up for a gain of only 1.
Again, early here in the second half, first play, the entire Tennessee defense in front of the ball on that play. But Hampton is a cutback runner.
Both running backs had great first halves. Hampton gained 108 yards. Worley gained 57. Fumble from center. And Wayne Johnson fortunate just to get it back, and he was stuffed. Georgia in the first half, when they got the football, the first 2 times they had it, there's the interception, then the touchdown. Then a 10-play drive that was stopped by a fumble. That was their punt in the first half after a 12-play drive, and then they ran out the clock.
You can see where they were on the field when those 2 turnovers occurred, how important they were.
3rd and 10. Johnson back to throw. Delay to the fullback. Henderson will not get the first down, and the 10,000 Tennessee fans here have something to cheer about on defense.
That's a very poor series for Georgia offensively. Tennessee played well, but you can't drop a snap from center when you're a running team. When Johnson dropped that snap, he didn't get anything on that play, and he put themselves in a real bad position. And also, Henderson ran into Adams on that last play. It's not good either. Adams, an offensive lineman.
Keith DeLong has already been on 10 tackles. This is Thomas Woods, who is back to take the punt from Joey Hester. Another good kick by Hester, a little shorter but very high. Loose ball, and Georgia's got it at the 21.
Question as to whether or not he should have caught this ball and called a fair catch and tried to run it. There was no blocking. Demetrius Douglas with a good hit, and all Georgia people there to make the recovery.
Worley is back in at the tailback spot. He'll get the football. Big hole. Worley to the 8-yard line. And Mark Fletcher saved the touchdown. Georgia trying to take advantage. They're down by 3.
All right, that was a big fumble. Got this crowd all revved up. Put the defense for Tennessee back on the field.
Full house backfield. Worley to the 5, to the 3. Tracy Hayworth, number 88, and Keith DeLong, 33 on the tackle. Something about a turnover gets you pumped up, doesn't it?
Yeah, if it's the other team.
Yeah. Second and goal from the 3. Worley. Touchdown, Georgia.
You to look at the defensive player on here and watch his legs and his position when he tries to stop Worley. He's not low enough. He's catching them, and you can't catch players on the goal line. It's an instant reaction. You got to drive them back.
Casey for the point. And Casey, who has never missed a point after in 2 years at Georgia, converts.
Short yardage, University of Georgia. Look at these red shirts. Look at DeLong. DeLong's buried. Now watch Hayworth on the outside. He's catching them. You can't catch a guy that big. His legs, he never got the drive. Georgia got the touchdown.
The Dogs regain the lead early third quarter. They're on top of Tennessee 14-10. Keith Davis is deep to receive as 82,000 people are on their feet in Athens, Georgia. Casey bombs that one. And Davis, 7 yards deep in the end zone, will down it there. Georgia's scoring drive, only 22 yards. The result of the fumble took them only 54 seconds, and Worley finished it off, Brian Cleveland, the hero, as he recovered the loose football.
Immediately after the best defensive series, probably of the game by Tennessee, they come back out, and all that they gained from that series gone as they get blown out 3 plays, 22 yards.
Jeff Francis needs just 8 more yards for another Tennessee record, the career passing mark. Then he'll keep it on the ground at Cobb. And Cobb gets 6. Terry Webster, number 60, in on the stop with Brent Collins. Here's what Tennessee was able to do with the football when they had it in the first half. First possession, only 5 plays and a punt, then 3 plays and a punt. Then they got something going. Field goal put them behind only 7-3. Then their touchdown drive, mostly in the air, put them ahead, and they missed a chance to score near the end of the first half on the long field goal. Cobb again. Georgia defense closed in a hurry. Brent Collins, number 93, really hustled to get over there.
These dogs can run, and Brent Collins is one of them. They love to play the run. Watch 93. He's off in a hurry, playing linebacker. He reads it immediately. Nice job. See, now that's going through a block. Remember what I said about Hayworth not going through the ball carrier? Collins went right through the block, got his legs behind him, and made the play. That's great linebacker play.
3rd and 4. Francis dumps it for Rollins, the big fullback. Pile drives his way for the first down. 219 pounds, a former tight end, and there is a flag down after the play.
Nice job by Rollins. Anytime you see an 85 in the backfield, you start getting a little shaky.
Well, you saw in that play, he's not going to outdance you. He's just going to run over you.
That number doesn't fit on a tailback's chest.
That's Aaron Chubb, one of the outside linebackers.
Yeah, he's give me a new helmet. Rollins broke this one.
Here's the call. It is a first down, Tennessee.
Dead ball foul, personal foul, offense is first and 25.
So they give them the first down. It occurred after. Here's the play.
There's Rollins, and there's Chubb, and it's hat to hat. Good night. A linebacker's not supposed to get knocked down. He's supposed to knock the other guy down.
First and 25. Tennessee back in a hole at their own 15. On the roll, goes near side to Cleveland, wide open. Beasley. Holy cow.
The only way to beat that play, Mike, would have been recognition. That was a very elaborate play fake, 1st and 25. But see, they never, here's Tarditz out here, supposed to have the short zone. He's got to back up, but he never recognized the play. 1st and 25, the last thing you do is bite on a play fake. You're going backwards as soon as they snap the ball. So what if they run for 8 yards? They've still got a ways to go.
Jeff Francis is now the career passing leader, going by Alan Cockrell's mark. Keith Davis now in the tailback. Play fake to Davis. Punted right in the face of Francis. He goes long. Threw that one into double coverage, and Cleveland comes up saying, what happened? But he was sandwiched between Beasley and Ben Smith and didn't have a chance.
Well, now that was excellent pass coverage. I don't think it started out to be pass coverage. Francis wants to throw it up, wants to be a track meet here. But the ball just isn't far enough, and there's your guys there, your defensive guys. Beasley for Georgia getting his hands on the ball and doing a nice job. Good job by Georgia. Cleveland got sandwiched, and he's feeling it.
He's holding his right hand when he got up, and they'll attend to him on the sideline on 2nd and 10. Got about 4. Let's get down to the sideline and Chris Fowler.
Okay, Mike, we've been impressed with the Georgia running backs. They call themselves the 4 horsemen. Apparently, they also eat like horses. This is Tony Dunn, a Georgia cheerleader. The players eat with the cheerleaders every day. Tell us about their eating habits.
Well, Tim Worley and Rodney Hampton, they can eat 3 steaks each, and the steaks about this long, about that thick, and they can go. If you watch them out here, they need to charge admission for them eating.
Thanks, Tony. Must be working. Mike?
Georgia jumps offside, and did you see what Francis did? Took the snap and went down to his knee. Now, if that flag is not thrown, he's down, and the play is over.
Yeah, no, he did. No, he did it. He did it when they entered the neutral zone. As soon as, see, that's what you do. A 5th-year senior, what they teach you to do if a defensive player gets in the neutral zone, if you have a smart center, and they do, and a smart quarterback, they just snap the ball.
Offside defense. 3rd down.
There you go. If they get in the neutral zone, your center snaps the ball automatically. He goes down. It's the end of the play, and it's an automatic penalty. They can get back if he doesn't snap the ball.
My point is, why didn't they go ahead and run the play? He's got a 3.
I think he and the center were the only one who knows what was going on.
It's 3rd and 1. First down. Let's check in with Tim Brando right now.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. At the Carrier Dome, Syracuse leading 7-0, and then Darrell Johnston bolts over for the touchdown. It's 14-0 in the first quarter. Let's get back to that.
Thank you, Tim. And our score 14-10. Georgia on top, but Tennessee driving. They're in Bulldog territory at the 48. Down by David Hargett, but it's a gain of 22, and the middle of that deep zone is no man's land for Georgia defenders.
Yeah, but that was a great play by Francis. Watch the linebackers, Collins, number 93, and Webster, number 60. They did exactly the right thing. Look at them. They got back to their zone. That's a great pass. He laid it right over the linebackers in front of the deep secondary. Watch this. This is all Francis. Those guys are exactly where they have to be.
That's the career passing leader in Tennessee. 8:23 to go, third quarter. Had some room to run that time. Good tackle by Terry Webster, number 60.
Balance. Tennessee's balance is really impressive now. It's starting to assert itself. It's got to be giving them fits back there, but also Georgia's defense is playing a lot better. Here's Webster, the leader of the defense, number 60. Nice job sliding his feet, moving over there, and helping out on the tackle, but still, that's 4 or 5 yards. They need to get up in there a little closer.
And that's what Cobb is averaging so far. 5 yards a carry, 12 for 60. Comes the blitz. Call the right play against it. Got it to Thomas Woods, and Woods dragging tacklers with him to the 5-yard line. Webster and Ben Smith got a free ride on a guy who's only 164 pounds.
Yeah, it's all leverage, though, Mike. In football, it's definitely leverage. Watch the difference in height of the two players, or their positioning. Watch Woods. See how Woods lowered his shoulder? Webster comes in late. But you see, you need to get your buttocks and your legs bent. You need to get up underneath. And Woods just had the position drive.
First and goal, Tennessee. Almost intercepted by Webster, and he dropped it. Poor pass by Francis. Trying to hit Thomas Woods.
Yeah, but you know what Francis thought? Francis thought the pump was going to get Webster out of there, and he never looked after he pumped. This is after he pumped to the right. Webster started to take a step, but a great reaction. Gets his hand up, but that's why he's a linebacker, not a receiver, because he can't catch.
Second and goal. Cleveland more the wide receivers to the near side. Woods to the top. Francis in trouble. Got away from two players. Touchdown, Tennessee. An absolutely brilliant play by the fifth-year senior, Jeff Francis. Not known for his mobility or anything else. He ran through a couple of tackles and gutted that one into the end zone. McCallum for the point after. Tennessee's back on top. McCallum converts.
Quarterback is the only player on the offense that there's not a defensive player assigned to. Francis, fifth-year senior, a lot of poise and a little bit of power here, too. Oh, you see it with his arm. And that's what Johnny used to do when he was a player.
Yes, he did.
He remembers it.
Tennessee back on top in a seesaw thriller from Athens. 14 over Georgia for Jeff Francis, only his second rushing touchdown of his career. Coming into this game, his rushing statistics minus 19 yards. He just carried for a 6-yard touchdown. Hampton got to the 25-yard line. Shazan Bradley doing very well on special teams, got down there. An impressive drive, 80 yards. Francis took it in himself, breaking 2 tackles in the process.
4:45, and that's 4:45 that the Tennessee defense did not have to be on the field. Real important.
The quarterback is still Wayne Johnson. He's got Rodney Hampton, number 7, and Keith Henderson, number 30, behind him. Johnson on a roll, wants to keep it. Signal for Henderson to throw him a block. Henderson couldn't, and he got tagged by Keith DeLong and some friends.
All right, DeLong having problems straight ahead, but he can go sideline to sideline with anybody. He's reading, he's looking to see who's got it. Nobody even blocks him, and that's a bad move. You better block this guy. Look at the speed. He's the first man there from the inside linebacker position.
I get the feeling that when Wayne Johnson rolls out like that, he is looking to run rather than to throw. Hampton, all the room in the world. 45, midfield, look out! Stiff arm Hampton finally forced out of bounds as he got to the 15-yard line.
A good player, but I got to believe this guy should stay in the game more. Kurt Mull made a great block on the corner, and now it's a matter of speed. Here's a guy that's already run for over 100 yards. He's just too tired to get to the end zone. Jeremy Lincoln coming up, and he gets a fist in his face for his trouble.
Hampton has gained 165 yards rushing, Worley 75. So out of the tailback spot, they've got 240 yards midway through the third quarter. There's a timeout in Athens with 6:22 to go. It's a 3-point game. 6:22 to go, third quarter. Georgia at the Tennessee 15 trying to regain the lead. It's been this way back and forth. The Tennessee defensive coaches trying to find a way to stop Rodney Hampton and Tim Worley. They haven't done it yet.
An unhappy face in the back is made.
of the old dogs of the Georgia front line, too. These guys are not only running great, but nobody touches them for the first 5 yards.
You're right. Yeah, that's an excellent point. They've just been pounding Tennessee's defense, Mike.
Casey for the point after. 21-17.
Let's talk a little Lamont Tellis, I think, number 77, 6'4", 275. I believe he pulls. There he is, right in the center of your screen. Now watch Worley. Tellis flying over, makes the block. Worley, great cutback against the over-pursuing Tennessee defense. That's power football, folks. Even if they would have got him, they might not have been able to tackle him. Tellis makes the great block. 77, right side of your screen. And here comes number 38, right into your living room. Duck, he can run.
Fourth lead change in the ball game. You have the feeling last team with the ball wins?
Yeah, I get the feeling Rodney says, wait a minute, I ran it down there. How come you scored?
Now, Worley, of course, along with Henderson, did not play because of academics last year. Both of them were in the junior college, so they come back, and Vince Dooley doesn't change backs. He just reloads.
Well, he's got 4 of them. He's only used 2, thank goodness.
Well, he hasn't been doing this for 25 years because he doesn't know what it's all about.
It's a great story about Dooley. Johnny Majors was telling us that Vince and Bill Dooley came down to Arkansas when Johnny was the assistant to Frank Broyles. They showed him how to run the I formation in 1964, and they never got out of it.
Keith Davis, deep to receive. Now, he must have taken good notes.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Davis trying to get over to this one, and it'll go out of the end zone, and they'll have to take over at the 20-yard line. An impressive scoring drive. Worley capped it off, but it was Hampton's long run that chewed up most of that 74 yards, and it only took 58 seconds off the scoreboard.
You see a drive like that, you say, wow, what a pass that must have been.
Yeah.
That wasn't any pass, folks. It was just handing it off.
Who needs the pass, right? That man does. That's where Jeff Francis has kept Tennessee in a ball game. Davis. This kid can run, too. He's out near the 30-yard line. Worley, Hampton, Cobb, and Davis. Here are 4 guys on the same field who could play for anybody in college football.
The thing about Davis is you hear so much about Reggie Cobb, as well you should, but had Keith Davis stayed healthy, Reggie Cobb may never have gotten into the lineup. This kid is a great tailback. He had total reconstructive knee surgery. They thought he'd never play again, but he's back, and he's as good as he ever was.
Fullback John Rollins, and he's got the first down across the 30. Nose guard Bill Goldberg made the stop.
You wonder why Tennessee doesn't come out and throw when it's obvious that they've had great success throwing. One problem is that they really don't want their defense on the field, and if you risk a pass, you blow it down, and it could be over in a hurry. If you can run for a few, it's part of the game, is not only for the offense to score, but give the defense a rest. Certainly that defense definitely needs a rest. They've been getting beat up the whole night.
Good play fake. They go out on a flanker screen to Thomas Wood. Woods gets it up to the 40. Let's go to the sideline and Chris Fowler.
Thank you, Mike. Another big challenge for the Tennessee offense here. I was in the huddle. I heard what the coaches were telling the players. They're telling them they're convinced the game plan works. Just keep doing what they did on the last drive. They're convinced they can move the ball. They don't think Georgia can stop. They're convinced they can win this football game. Mike?
Thank you, Chris.
But what do they eat? I want to know what they eat.
Steak's about that thick. You have to feel the biggest fans of the Tennessee offense right now is the Tennessee defense. Go Volunteers. Francis in trouble. Got rid of it to Davis, and he's out to the 45-yard line. That's just experience and cool.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. You wonder. What's the difference between a 5th-year senior and a 4th-year senior? A year, obviously. And 12 months can do you a lot of good here. As Francis, as cool as he can be, just looking for a guy to clear, he hits Davis for a first down.
First jump pass I've seen in a long time. Didn't have the great form.
I still want to know how he was able to curl the ball around the marker there for a touchdown. Where did they teach that?
Play fake throw on first down. Wood. Oh, what a move. closer than that, or he'll run around you all night long.
I got to tell you, I don't mean to beat on the kid because it's not fair, but Vince Guthrie has no business in the defensive secondary. He shouldn't get any further than a yard behind the line. He was an excellent defensive end, but number 54, this is a very difficult position to put him in national television. Everybody on their schedule is watching this kid. He's helpless against the pass.
And he's listed as the strong safety, but he still lines up like a linebacker. Francis won't get away this time. Sacked at the 43. Hiawatha Berry, number 58. Giving him a lot of pressure along with Guthrie.
Hiawatha Berry. Go Hiawatha. Is there a song about him?
I can't recall right now.
Well, a couple of plays like that there will be.
Third sack by the Georgia defense, and it's 2nd and 14.
Screen and draw, screen and draw. You got to at least talk about it, especially with this team. They got those great tailbacks.
Here's the blitz. Francis in trouble, got rid of it, completed it to the 35-yard line, and completed it to Nate Middlebrooks.
Middlebrooks does not play that much, but he's an excellent player. He's a good receiver. They use a lot of 3 wideouts, 4 wideouts. He's a tight end, listed as a tight end, but he was a wide receiver. He knows how to keep his feet in bounds. He did a good job on the sideline, and Francis did a good job picking up that yardage.
Johnny Majors looks on 3rd and 7. Francis now 288 yards passing, and he's hit his last 4. And he can't hear.
There's a new rule here this year about this, Mike.
Oh, Tennessee takes some timeout.
Yeah, they didn't have to call a timeout. Now, there is a rule where you can ask the referee if he determines that that the crowd is too loud, he will give the defensive team a warning. If he perceives that that the crowd is too loud, he can do that twice, and then they start taking timeouts away from the defense. If you have 3 timeouts left, they can do this consecutively. 2 warnings, 3 timeouts, and then they begin to penalize you. So no matter if Georgia had 3 timeouts, it could happen 5 times consecutively. They would not have to run a play if the crowd kept screaming.
Right. Speaking of timeouts, the Volunteers only have 1 left. Coming up Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 20th ranked Texas. The Longhorns going against Brigham Young. Brigham Young lost to Wyoming in their opener on ESPN last Thursday night.
David McWilliams doing a real good job with Texas. They played for the conference title last year, lost it to A&M. In fact, we had that game on ESPN, and you can bet they'll be ready to go down there.
Third and 7. Four-man rush. Incomplete. They'll have to kick it away. Intended for Middlebrooks at the 30. Ben Smith on the coverage.
Yeah, look where Middlebrooks hooked up, though. He hooked up short of the first down. Watch where you see this ball. Where's this ball lands? Ball is wide. Really never had a chance, but the yard line marker was about on the 28. If he'd have caught that, he still wouldn't have had the first down. Good job by the defense. Defense dropped too deep for him to get the first down.
Tennessee lines up like they'll go for it, and Georgia will use a timeout. Andy Kelly, the punter, is the backup quarterback.
Yeah, there's another rule, you know. There's another rule change. You know, this one about confusing. You can't confuse the defense.
Yeah, but that's by running on and off the field.
Right.
In this case, they had the punting team on there, it looked like, and Kelly, you know the play where he goes up under center, and then when nobody can figure out what he's doing, he shifts back as the punter.
That would have confused me.
Well, it worked on Georgia. They had to use the second of 3 timeouts here in the half.
There is a rule now. All kidding aside, there's a rule where if the offense attempts to confuse the defense, and the referee, again, this is a rule this year, and the referee perceives that they are doing that, it is a penalty. Well, I mean, I'd be saying I was confused no matter what. They'd believe me. Johnny Majors got, you know, the one thing about a football coach, it's okay to have an offense that doesn't work right, but it's embarrassing to have a defense that gets pushed around. Nobody likes to have a defense that gets pushed around.
How about this? 4th and 7. France Francis is back in there. They'll go for it. They're going to shift. Excuse me. Kelly is in a quarterback, and they will shift. Kelly, a line drive kick to the sideline, out of bounds at the 18.
Yeah, but what they did, you know, they accomplished something. The kick wasn't that good. What they did, they forced Georgia not to have a return team. Georgia was in a straight defense, and what they had to do is they just let the kick go. So actually, Tennessee, pretty good job there.
And they also forced Georgia to use one of its timeouts. Now the Tennessee defense has to show something. If you can't stop Georgia, you're not going to be able to win. Hampton back in there at tailback. He'll get the carry. DeLong is in on the tackle again as Hampton got to the 21. Haven't heard much from the tight end Troy Sadowski, the All-American candidate. Sadowski was asked, what is the difference as you see some more scores? What is the difference between being a tight end and a tackle? He said, here at Georgia, it's about a foot.
Yeah. Well, we haven't heard much about him. You never will hear about him in terms of pass coverage, but you'll always hear about him as a blocker. He's an excellent blocker. Not the fumble. That happens. He tries to pick it up. He should have dove on the ground. He reached down instead of diving on the ball, and when he did that, he opened the door for Tennessee. Anybody can fumble. Look at DeLong. What a hit. He keeps him off the ball, and Kimbrough comes in and cleans it up. Hampton should have gone right down and grabbed into that ball.
The third Georgia turnover puts Tennessee at the 15. Francis, the quick toss. Harper inside the 10 to about the 6. Harper is the best physical specimen of all these very good Tennessee receivers.
I called 50 pounds. Yeah, that's all I got was that. That's all. I didn't do field call. I just called it.
Tennessee defense being talked to on the sideline. They did their job that time.
That was Keith DeLong. Well, he fumbled the ball. They did a nice job picking it up.
Throw again. Wide open. Vince Moore at the 2. Boy, Guthrie and Ben Smith drilled him out of bounds. Nobody was going to sneak in that time.
Now here's where Guthrie, and I said he had no business in pass coverage. Now here's where he's valuable.
Exactly.
Because now you've got nothing vertically here, and you've got to go to crossing and out patterns. And a guy like Guthrie on the goal line is a guy who can really hammer you.
302 yards passing for Francis as he's hit his last 6. 20 of 29 for the game. First and goal. He's denied. Remember, he's got a nose for the end zone. Tied Herschel Walker's record of 20 touchdowns last year.
This is the most fun of any defensive play you can ever have. They're going to run it, and you're going to make the tackle. Here comes Webster. Timing the jump just perfectly and getting some help. And down they go.
Collins and Webster both got there, and we have a Tennessee player down. The starting left guard, Antoine Davis, 291-pound sophomore. Excuse me, Antone Davis.
Talk about that offensive line of Tennessee. They lost 3 great players right in the center of their line last year. They've done a nice job. The guys that have filled in for them have done a great job. Robinson and Eric Still and Antone Davis being one of them. The people they lost with John Bruin, Harry Galbraith, 2 of the best guards. In fact, Johnny, as you see him on the screen, said the 2 best guards he's ever had. He's had a few good guards. And then Todd Kirk, the center, who was also gone, was the leader of the offense. So Tennessee has rebuilt that offensive line rather quickly.
Galbraith was voted the best lineman in the SEC last year, was an All-American. Still tending to Antone Davis. The battle for the national championship will move to South Carolina and Darlington. Track called one that's too tough to tame. The first superspeedway constructed with the first race on Labor Day, 1950. Dale Earnhardt took the checkered flag last year, and he'll be back along with almost all of the top drivers: Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, Richard Petty, who finished third in the race a year ago. Bill Elliott, the pole sitter for the Darlington race.
Let's go with our best football.
That 28 lead. That's what he said. Now, under normal circumstances, I don't know what their play calling is, but it could be the 2-back, the 8-hole, and it could be an outside off-tackle play. And we'll see. There is no 8-back, to my knowledge. No, let's hope not.
Now you can look for him to go right tackle on this. Here's a big ball game. Texas A&M and LSU. And the Bengals are on top 3-0 first quarter. Mississippi rolling over Memphis State at the half. Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State deadlocked at the half. And Duke in the battle of genius leading Northwestern 28-7.
Throwing books at each other.
Davis being helped off. 2nd and goal from the 1. Keith Davis never had a chance.
2-back is the wing back. The 8 holes outside the end. To sweep across the formation on the goal line is something that's very, very tentative. You're going to have a problem because you got to go across the formation. You better do some block. And see how far he has to go, Davis, before he turns upfield. But Georgia is notorious for their play against the run, and they showed it why there.
Brent Collins did a great job. One of the inside linebackers getting outside.
You know what he's doing, I think? He's complaining. I thought he was going to complain. I thought that maybe Georgia was trying to duplicate the signals. Defensive guys are slick that way. You know, they imitate the quarterback. When he went into the secondary there, I thought that's what he was complaining about. But I don't know that he was calling a timeout. He was probably just.
Well, that's the way he looked the time before when he called timeout, like something was going on.
I remember what we used to do. After about 2 quarters, you can pick up the cadence and you can change your defensive calls to sound like it. Then, of course, you claim ignorance, which nobody ever, being a defensive player, nobody ever questioned that.
This game has seesawed back and forth. Turnovers have been a major part of it, and it has been offense. Tennessee 374 yards in total offense. Georgia 335. We haven't finished the third quarter yet.
Yeah.
3rd and goal.
This is almost a 2-point conversion type of play, Mike. You use a flood pattern or a tight end drag. If Middlebrooks is in the game, look for him on the backside drag, and you need something where your speed can come into effect. That would be across the field. Try and take those 3 guys, flood a zone, and find the one that's open.
Terrence Cleveland has been his favorite receiver, number 4. He hasn't been to him very much lately. Can still get that leg up, can he? Tennessee's defense responds by stuffing the run by Worley up the middle. Mike Kelly was in on the tackle, got a lot of help. Francis on the sideline. I don't think he ever saw it coming.
Well, as a a short drop. It was a short drop. He had to think he had the time, and he didn't have the time.
That's the end of the third period. And they're on their feet in Athens, Georgia. It's the Dogs 21, the Volunteers 17. Ready to start the fourth quarter. Mike Patrick and Kevin Kiley with you, along with Chris Fowler from Athens, Georgia. The Bulldogs up by 4. They have the football. And if you like offense, this has been a beauty. Henderson, the fullback. Let's go down to the sideline and Chris Fowler.
Thanks, Mike. Injury report on Antone Davis, starting left guard for Tennessee. You can see down here they're icing his left ankle. The trainers don't know whether he can return. Johnny Majors told us they like to go to the left side in goal line situations that may have affected their play calling about that last series. We don't know if Davis is going to come back.
Thank you, Chris. 14:36 to go.
Excellent observation when you think about that play they tried to run to the right.
Exactly. Hampton back into tailback. Pulls his way across the 25 to about the 28. It's another first down. Preston Warren and Mike Kelly made the tackle.
Lamont Tellis having a big game for Georgia, number 77 at guard. He's just pounding people out. Adams not doing bad either. You have to laugh at Georgia and Vince Dooley. 3rd and 3, and they give it to the fullback, and they make it.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, this team is really unbelievable. It's a throwback team. They just make it work.
Shoulder to him, and that's a fine tackle.
There's a couple of great blocks here. Kurt Mull, number 50, will make a great block coming back, and then Tellis pulls outside. Mull sealed it off inside. Tellis knocked down 2 players, and Hampton jumped over, and you got 5 yards. And that's, you only run a couple of plays, but if you can make them work like that, you can be successful.
There's Marion Hobby, number 90, their best down lineman, who chased it from the right side all the way to the left sideline. That time, again, Marion Hobby had him around the ankles.
Watch Todd Wheeler, number 63 in the center, doing a great job all day. Just blows out the middle guard, Charles McCray, and goes on looking for somebody else. McCray, that's part of the problem with the Tennessee defense. That middle guard has got to at least hold his ground. What they used to do when I played it, the middle guard wasn't playing well. They'd have him bury his head and just lay there and make people trip over him. But at least you got to stay down.
Wheeler is the best center in the SEC consensus first team. Hampton back in there. It's a hard way to come down. Worley tripped up by Lincoln.
The Worley's got a little Mary Lou Retton in him, doesn't it?
It's a first down.
This really doesn't need any, you don't need to analyze this. The guy can fly.
They took 2/10 off for the landing, but it was a great flip. And he knew he had the first down.
That calls for a steak, huh?
Worley again. Just powering his way to the 45-yard line.
This guy's a rare combination. He's got great quick feet and he's powerful. That's a nasty package when you're playing defense.
As strong as a bulldog. And here's what the running backs have done. Hampton with 172 yards. Look at the average. Worley's over 100 yards. Henderson is the piker in the group. He only has 48 yards, but they've only given it to him 8 times. Worley on the screen, no chance. Loss of 5. And once again, Marion Hobby diagnosed the play perfectly.
Marion Hobby very well could have had a touchdown had he been thinking linebacker instead of defensive tackle. That play never had a chance. You wonder why do they throw the ball at all? That's because they have to throw the ball. I mean, you have to. It's a courtesy. You have to throw it.
Well, Wayne Johnson's thrown it 5 times. He's completed 4, but only for 12 yards.
Yeah, well, that's typical Georgia passing game.
3rd and 8. Draw, Henderson. Near midfield, and it looks like he got the first down. It will depend on the spot. Kimbrough and David Johnson made the tackle. Incidentally, the Tennessee defense is the only group in this entire stadium surprised by a draw on 3rd and 8.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the draw, you know what makes a draw so difficult? Because a down lineman, as I said, can feel it because they put their hands on the lineman, the offensive lineman. They can tell whether he's pushing against them. But if you're playing linebacker, as we get the measurement here, you really got to sense it. You got to sense it, and it's a very, very tough thing to do short. Speaking of tough, this is a tough call for Georgia. You would think they would go for it as powerful as they are, but if they don't get it, they're going to give up field position. Very tough call.
Yeah, they give up the ball in their own territory, not something Vince Dooley normally does.
Another thing is you got 10:50 to go in the game. A first down for Georgia probably means 2 more series, tire out the defense, eat up some clock. They have the lead.
They're lining up to go for it.
Okay, 2 things you got to think about. If you're playing defense, you think cadence first, so they don't draw you off sides. They change the cadence. Second thing is you think about Lamont Tellis because he's been crushing people all day. Try to lean that way towards number 77.
Full house backfield. Worley, first down. He's gained more yards in the air than most backs do running.
Right over Lamont Tellis, Mike, and I mean right over, about 10 feet over him. Tellis over on that right side, a lot of power, and then you've got Worley. And Vince Dooley, after 25 years, he can still get excited over a first down. Imagine if he wins this one.
Ball in Tennessee territory again. Worley. Huge hole up the middle. Still on his feet inside the 35 to the 33. Let's check in with Tim Brando.
All right, Mike, you know how Dooley's dogs are doing? Well, it's raining cats and dogs on Jackie Sherrill as the Bayou Bengals are getting it done. This ball never gets out of the backfield. Lance Pat was picked off by Ron Sancho. The try for 2, no good. The Tigers lead the Aggies by 12 in the first quarter, right?
LSU with that opportunistic defense, and we've heard Ron Sancho's name called a few times in the last couple of years.
Very well coached. Pete Jenkins, the defensive coordinator, does a great job down there. They're not really a physically big defense, but they hit hard, and if they get ahead of you, they're tough.
Georgia has already gained 360 yards rushing the football. They've gained 12 passing, and now we've got rain, which is not good for Tennessee. They are probably going to have to throw the football to get back in this.
But as of now, I don't think the rain is that much of a factor.
Hampton is back in. Henderson the up. Hampton again, right up the gut. Well, these guys are frightening.
Behind the running back, right up, good quick feet. That little jump he makes over the hands and legs. What they're doing, they're knocking the defense down off their feet. They're not only pushing them back, these guys don't have any chance to make a tackle. And here's a guy that evidently they did knock down. They do not have a number.
Todd Wheeler and Lamont Ellis are burying people.
Yeah, and not only, you see dominance, you see guys, we'll have this fella's number here as soon as we can, but when you see dominance, you see him pushing them around. But boy, they're just taking these guys and putting them on the ground, and then you got nobody to pursue, and you have nobody even get an arm tackle in there. What a job by the Georgia offensive line. I remember asking Vince yesterday, I spoke to Vince, and I asked him as we were leaving, I said, and Vince, what about your offensive line? He kind of turned and looked over his shoulder and said, sound.
Yeah, the sound they're making is crunch. We'll check on the injury when we come back. There's 9 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the ballgame. Jeremy Lincoln on the sideline, able to come off under his own power. Played a good game, Kevin.
He has. He's one of the guys in that secondary come up and made some hits.
Hampton and Henderson in there on 1st and 10. Henderson. Well, that time he ran right into the back of his right tackle, Kurt Mull. And one of the few times the Tennessee defense got penetration.
It's tough to miss Kurt, 6'5", 291.
Maybe the hardest hit Hampton has had all night.
Again, the thing that's all the more impressive here is that Tennessee's defense should be playing the run and committing people to the run. Georgia doesn't pass that often, and they're still blowing them.
Option. Johnson peaks, gets down to the 17-yard line. The first time they've run that one. Fifth-year senior out of Columbus, Georgia, directing the attack. Redshirt freshman Greg Talley's been in there some, but in the first half. Let's check in with Chris Fowler.
Mike, injury report on Jeremy Lincoln. The Tennessee trainers are icing the back of his neck. They were giving him a little massage. Apparently the neck is the problem. He doesn't look to be in too much pain. We'll have to see if he comes back in the next series.
He was putting his head in there all night. He could have a little slight concussion. You don't like to speculate, but that's what they would do for him.
Third and 4, Ellis and Worley. Worley. First down and a lot more to the 10. Ridden down by Mark Fletcher, number 36.
Power set in the backfield. Three guys. There's nobody there when he turns the corner. Watch this thing. Got blocking right and left, and look at Mull. Mull took his man, literally put him on the ground. Then you've got cleanup personnel. You have got to get in front of him. And then there's Vince. All he needs is the ball, and he could high step right into the end zone.
Full house backfield again. Henderson will get about 3. That's an unusual call there with a full house backfield to give it to the up man.
Yes, it is, because you lose all that strength of it, yeah. The defensive philosophy will change here now, Mike. Your responsibility on the line defensively is to get low, stay low, don't lose ground, and then you have guys that chase right behind the line and try to catch them before they jump, if they do jump. Let's see if Tennessee can play this goal line defense a little better.
Second and 7. Worley. Got close to the 5.
One would have to think that Worley could jump 7 yards. He had 7 yards to go. I have to question whether or not you should be leaping when you have 7 yards to go. 20 carries, 134 yards for Worley.
And Hampton has more.
All right, remember again, they've been going back to the right side. Lamont Tellis, Kurt Mull, when they need help. Normally they'll run behind the motion man if they do have a motion.
2 fullbacks and Worley. And now it's decision time for Vince Dooley. He's up by 4. He's got a chip shot field goal. The crowd, of course, wants him to go.
Absolutely no reason on earth that he should not go for this touchdown.
I don't know. Normally, I would agree with you.
I'll tell you why. Because of the dominance of the line and the leaping ability of these guys. All they have to do is take off the ground. They can leap 2 yards.
Well, they're going to talk it over. Timeout by Georgia. They have only 1 left. And we have only 6:39 to go in this one from the sold-out Athens, Georgia. 6:39 left in the game. Georgia up by 4. They have it 4th and goal at the Tennessee 2-yard line, and they will disdain the field goal and go for the touchdown.
All right, you got to stop the lead back, the blocking back, if you're playing defense. You got to come hard from the corner, stuff the lead back, make him take off if he jumps from as far back as possible, and then catch it.
Hampton. Touchdown. To have the feeling that Rodney Hampton, before he is done, may challenge Herschel Walker's records. This guy is a great back. Pacey for the point after. And it's good. And now Tennessee is in a whole lot of trouble.
Volunteers didn't do a bad job securing the corner, but nobody filled inside. You see that? The inside support never got there, and if they had timed it, he was in the air a long time. Watch this thing. Now, if you're playing defense, down on the ground, another guy, and Hampton jumping over. The possibility, the potential to stop that play was there. And here's Vince. And Vince out-jumped Rodney Hampton.
There's some spryness left in those 25-year veteran coaching legs. .6:35 left. Georgia now leads Tennessee by 11. The Volunteers must score twice to tie or win. Scoring has not been their problem. It's keeping the ball away from Georgia or getting it away from them. Casey to kick off. The hero of last year's bowl game, of course. And Keith Davis standing at the goal line. He has not had much success. 5 yards deep, he'll bring it out. And he was hammered by Mike Guthrie, a senior linebacker. And that last drive was something to watch. 87 yards that took almost 9 minutes off the clock. Unbelievable.
Classic Georgia drive, and the first game of the year they ran 19 plays under pressure, no fumbles, after a fumble. Remember, Hampton fumbled last time. Just great coaching. Keep it simple, be big and strong, and make them pay. And that's the way Vince Dooley's done it all these years.
Francis needs 84 yards, and he needs them in a hurry. Now he needs 91. Richard Tarditz with his 3rd sack of the ball game and the 5th for Georgia.
He had no short receivers was the problem. Watch the right of your screen. Tarditz, great spin move. And he gets Francis. The problem with that thing was the pattern. They were covering deep. They had nobody coming short for him to dump the ball to.
Screen to Cobb. He's out in front of the blocker. He's outran everybody and got up to the 23-yard line.
That's just as a great back. I mean, you're right about that, Mike. He realized that the play, if he waits to play shot, he turned his head upfield, knew he was going to get hammered, but he still picked up good yardage. Real good yardage, about 10 yards on it.
3rd and 3.
Is this Uga's date?
No, that's Smokey. Francis throws complete to Harper. Harper's got the first down, brought down by Tarditz, who this time was back in pass coverage.
Well, that's the beauty again of the 3-4. You can drop 8 people now, whereas before they had those 4 people committed to a pass rush.
Clock running, 5:13 and counting from Athens. Francis under pressure. Got it to Middlebrooks. And Middlebrooks up to the 44-yard line.
Georgia doing a nice job protecting the sidelines, keeping the ball inside and keeping it in that hole in the middle. They're making Francis throw the ball and keep the clock running. And Tennessee has no timeouts, correct?
That's right. Clock starts, 4:55 to go. Sidearms that one, picked up by Beasley. The 3rd turnover this half, and Francis just threw a bad ball.
Yeah, absolutely no reason to throw that ball. The receiver was covered. Beasley just sitting out there waiting to do exactly what he did. To lay it up short in the middle of the field against the deep zone is the worst thing you can do.
Plus, he was running to his left and trying to throw back across his body, the hardest pass you could possibly throw. Hampton. Francis on the sideline has become the most prolific passer in Tennessee history, but he's not going to be a happy young man after this one. He's made a couple of mistakes.
Yeah, brilliant game, but Georgia's one of those teams. I mean, they were defenseless against this guy early in the game, but somehow, because they do enough things right and because this man knows the game so well, they managed to dominate.
2nd and 5. And 36. Marion Hobby makes the tackle.
Tennessee with no timeouts, in spite of what he may be hearing in terms of what he should do on offense next. Remember the last drive, almost 9 minutes, no timeouts to stop the clock, and you can bet Georgia's not going to stop. But Tennessee's simply got to stop the running game, and they haven't done it all night.
Well, if I were him, the next thing I'd do is use the phone to order a pizza. This one's over.
He may be.
Rain coming down much harder. Worley back in there. Could get a couple. Shazan Bradley, a good-looking freshman, number 40, was in on the tackle. He's played hard tonight. Tennessee can't stop the clock. Used up all their timeouts, and there's 3:08 to go. And it is pouring. Johnson on the action. Keeps. Gained maybe a yard. Terry Bailey made the tackle. The storyline, Athens, Tennessee has turned it over 3 of the last 4 times. Francis has had a great night passing, but Georgia has had a better night rushing the football. And Hampton almost 200 yards on the ground.
I'm getting plenty of airtime anyway, so why not get back to the game? Our feed is back. So is Mike Patrick along with Kevin Kiley. Back at
defensive play knocked it away from Woods. We understand we were knocked off the air because of the storm here in Athens, but they are calling an interference penalty on Ben Smith.
Tough call on that one. Looked to me like that was an excellent defense.
Yeah, it did.
You don't have a picture. The rain is really coming down here, and wind, sheets of rain.
And they don't allow umbrellas in this stadium as they don't in many other stadiums. And that really means if you don't have some rain, you're just going to drown on the way to the car.
And you know, there's nothing worse than a wet dog.
And those wet dogs will be smiling tonight. Francis loading it up. It slipped off his hand. It looks like a punt. That ball could have been caught by Alvin Harper. He was the only one who timed his jump the right way.
Well, like I said, I do that 4 times. Because I think what happened, you could lose your footing. I just throw Hail Marys. Send everybody to the middle of the field and play jump ball with the thing. What do you have to lose?
Second down, 10 yards to go. The story is 28-17 with only 1:05 to go. Tennessee needs 2 scores. Screen to Cobb. Cuts it back, stopped shy of midfield. Good play by Webster and Goldberg. Clock ticking down. Tennessee with no timeouts left. 3rd and 6. Tennessee taking an awful lot of time.
Yeah.
Francis throws short. Complete to Cobb. It will be a first down, but that is meaningless at this point.
Well, it stops the clock temporarily, but you're right. You need 2 scores. It's not going to help.
Clock running with 20. Francis deep over the middle, almost intercepted by Smith, and then Guthrie had a shot at it.
Well, I'd like to see Guthrie get that one. He's had a rough night. It would have been nice if he could have grabbed that.
Yes, it would. And And it's really, as you pointed out earlier, it's not his fault.
No.
That's where he is assigned to play in that scheme. And the kid is a linebacker or a down lineman, and they made him a strong safety.
Well, maybe we ought to tell the story. They took 3 or 4 people, offensively and some defensive people, and tried him out there because they needed a safety, and this poor guy won.
That's right.
He was the least worst.
He drew the short straw.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 with 11 seconds to go. Francis just got to throw in the end zone.
Yeah.
Throw short, intercepted. Demetrius Douglas. Georgia with a devastating ground game gives Vince Dooley win number 1 of his 25th year at the helm, and the Bulldogs have a leg up on the SEC championship. The final 28-17 for Kevin Kiley and Chris Fowler. This is Mike Patrick saying so long from Athens. Let's join Tim Brando.